So today we need to talk about the Peace Corps, another U.S. government agency you may never have heard of that has nonetheless been doing good work on your behalf since 1961. We need to talk about them today because the DOGE team just showed up at the Peace Corps headquarters to start sniffing around, and we know what that usually means. So what is the Peace Corps? Like USAID, it's a U.S. government agency set up in the 1960s to help other nations in need and increase American influence throughout the world. Now, the Peace Corps is different from other aid agencies in two specific ways. Number one, it is super cheap. So I've been telling you for ages that USAID was a great deal for the American people at less than 1% of our federal budget, and it was. But compared to the USAID budget, the Peace Corps budget is like a dust mote floating in the air. Like, it's nothing. 0.0003% of our annual budget, or a rounding error of the Pentagon budget. This brings us to the second way that Peace Corps is different than most other aid agencies. It relies on volunteers. That's right, people who give up their regular lives and jobs for 2 years to move to a developing country and help people. Volunteers don't get paid. They get a stipend of a few $100s a month that has to cover all their living expenses. They usually live in the house of a host family in the community who often doesn't speak English. And I have to say, 2 years is a really long time to be a house guest, but anyway. I really like running water and electricity, and so here's where I need to admit that I've never even aspired to be a Peace Corps volunteer. But I have known many Peace Corps volunteers during my time overseas, and they are some of the most dedicated, hardworking, resourceful, smart problem solvers I've ever met. Bottom line, being a Peace Corps volunteer is not for the weak. Right now, there are over 3,000 volunteers in 57 countries. These are countries that need people, that need motivated, energized volunteers to help with health programs and education, water, sanitation, jobs training, things like that. Decades after their exposure to a Peace Corps volunteer, these countries are filled with gratitude to the U.S. government and the American people for their service. For the amount of goodwill America gets from the work of these volunteers, Peace Corps is probably the best investment in the entire government. When DOGE wastes their own high, expensive daily operating costs poking around at Peace Corps, it's not about waste and fraud. I hope this visit is just a field trip gone wrong, and DOGE will leave Peace Corps and its volunteers alone to do the great work they've been doing for decades. But if DOGE is going to use the USAID script on Peace Corps, we should be prepared to hear lies and absurd claims about the organization, who works for it, and what it does. If that happens, don't believe a word.